Hello everyone, it is me, GamePenguin21, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video because I am kind of out of things to talk about. So let's talk about a game that I've been recently playing a lot. You're probably seeing some of the gameplay up on the screen now, and I wanted to talk about it because, quite honestly, this game is everything that I want in a boomer shooter game. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is quite vehemently a very interesting game, and one that I would highly recommend to anyone who would seriously doubt thinking about talking into the boomer shooter genre. So, with that being said, let's get into the actual review of Forgive Me Father 1 and 2. I like how that rhymed. So, Forgive Me Father 1 and 2 have been basically put out as a bundle because there is recently both of these games were on Steam, and they were available for about $30, which was the price of even just one of these games. But let me be clear here, one of them is still in early access, that being Forgive Me Father 2, which is going to be in early access for a little bit of time. But there is the entirety of Forgive Me Father 1, which I'm going to be honest, that game right there, if is anything that I've seen from the trailers that you can see from this actual gameplay, you would know that this game is actually cool. So what is Forgive Me Father? Well, Forgive Me Father is a boomer shooter of the Doom class of the original Doom. Not the newer, fast, twitchier type Doom. No, I'm talking the entirety of the thing is a little bit more flat, but there's a little bit more actual elevation. But you still move faster and can carry more guns than the average U.S. Marine. And let me be clear on this, folks. This right here is super fun. Can you also tell I've been watching a little bit of the Fleekazoid recently by the sound of my voice to try to keep it a little bit entertaining. But we're going to get ahead of ourselves. What parts of this game are good, what parts are bad, and what parts make me go all the way to the top? Let's get to this. So we're going to start off with the more, less good parts of this, and that being the story. The story in most games that are of this caliber is very light, and it's gameplay. But the story in this is actually kind of okay, because it borrows a lot from H.P. Lovecraft, which is my personal favorite author because of the amount of death, rot, and disgustingness that is his entire thing. Yes, there's a little bit of that other in there, but we don't want to talk about that, because quite honestly, this borrows mostly from the town of Innsmouth type story where you are sent on a mission to go to a town to save your cousin. You can play as either a male or female, and you actually do get different upgrades. There are generally the same upgrades for most of the skill trees, and yes, there is a skill tree in this. We'll get into that in the gameplay section. But overall, this story is very simple. You go to the town of I've completely forgotten the game, but it's Innsmouth Light, technically speaking. It's not the exact same town. But you go to that town and you then start to fight zombies, some of the villagers that can cast frickin' magics, as well as army-type dudes, and all sorts of really cool and interesting different bad guys. There's also bosses in this game, which I'm gonna be honest, after I played that first Act 1, I was very much hooked on a feeling. But yeah, overall, I've gone through at least most of the first act, as well as about halfway through the second act, so this is more of a first impressions type deal. But let me be clear, this game right here hooked me from the very beginning. Because of its next biggest thing, the graphics. That's right, the graphics themselves might be simple, but they are very effective in the way that they actually make sure that you can see the amount of green that's like there. And we're not talking like the good old forest green, no, we're talking baby poop green, browns, and all sorts of weird comic-like mechanics. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of The Darkest Dungeon in its in the way that it presents its characters, or at least in the characters in the way. And when I say this goes for the act of the original Doom, I mean it. Most, if not all, of the actual animations of each of the characters is done in a 2D sprite kind of way, but they seem to be hand-drawn. Unsure if they are, but they definitely do look just absolutely gorgeous. And yes, while the actual environments around it as well also seem very simply textured, it gets across the part of this actually being kind of a comic come to life, and it's great. And again, that lightness on story that I mentioned earlier, most if not a lot of the background information seems to be in random documents and stuff like that, but overall I don't really care because that's not what I'm here for. And to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, the biggest part of this that comes together is the actual gameplay. Every single polished bit of effort that seems to have gone into this game from the actual other stuff seems to have gone a lot into the gameplay. And that's not saying that the game looks and plays bad. No, it plays absolutely perfectly, to the point where it's actually kind of difficult. Whereas in most other boomer shooters of this kind of caliber are having you go out and around and do all sorts of things, while this does have the kind of powers as you would expect it doesn't actually have many of the flying enemies, at least not in the first couple of chapters that I've seen here. And I hope that they continue this, because quite honestly, I would prefer them actually having super fun gameplay loops overall for other things. So yeah. But then I mentioned earlier before that there was a skill tree, and yes, there is slight minor RPG elements, including a New Game Plus mode, which is, by God, that is amazing. Now, of course, with the whole New Game Plus mode, you have to get these levels to get XP to be able to upgrade to various specific ones. And there are a few different ways to really upgrade, and those upgrade characters and stuff do massively different things depending on how you want to play your character. If you do the female one, or the reporter in this case, she can basically be super aggressive by turning yourself into a damn demon, as well as several other things that you can basically say, hey, give me some space, and crush a doll and just basically kill everyone within a small radius around you. It's quite the effortness. And let me just say, again, it is very much so kind of a bullet hell to be able to move around in this. But again, that's what the original Doom was as well, if you kind of think about it. It is super duper fun to play and go throughout this game. And again, the gameplay is the bricks that hold the foundation of this game together, and they are very solidly built, to the point where I can't even really find a fault in it. It's just the difficulty meter tends to go up pretty gradually, but overall you are never without some sort of way to actually make yourselves a little bit better. And again, you can definitely change up your gameplay style to really encounter what different kinds of gameplay styles you would want. Again, if you want to go to a more passive defensive route, you can go with the good old priest, who basically has all defensive type moves. But if you want to attack, and you don't pick the reporter, let me be clear here, you are kind of missing out on a very interesting thing. And it also kind of affects the story. This general story between both the campaigns is the same, it's just that you are of a different character, as well as different quips and talking points. So both of them are pretty solid. But overall, the gameplay does offer a very good variety of guns and equipment and even skills. And again, with the skill tree out there, you can really tend to actively create your character in the way that you would want to. Overall, I think that this being a quicker video would probably be more on an off-day type thing. So yeah, but overall, my review is go out and buy both of these games and support the developers, because god damn it, I want more H.P. Lovecraft games, personally speaking. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this shorter video of me just ranting into a microphone about a game that I actively enjoy, and one that you'll probably see more on the channel, because god damn is it so much fun to play. My name is GamePenguin21. If you like what it is that I do and want to support me in any way, shape, or form, links to everything down in the description below. All the social medias and all the actual Patreons and stuff like that. I want to mention more people in there, but I haven't actually checked the Patreon to even know if there is money coming in. Probably not. But again, in any case, my name is GamePenguin21. Go out and buy this game, please, and a peace.